Yeah, this for all the people out there that's separated from weirdos. We are the same. Yeah, these big ass humans won't leave me alone. These big ass humans won't leave me alone. You done got too lost when you're being alone. They be acting like they don't need me when they go. These big ass humans won't leave me alone. 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 Big punk ass humans gon' keep with you so. Cause I don't really care what's deep in your soul. So they be hating on people they even don't know. They ain't got no legitimate reason to show. When I'm cooking the shit I won't leave on the stove. Should be worrying about all the people you own. What goes around comes back around like the seasons of show. First things get hot by the evening is froze. Yeah, cutting out all of that negative energy for reasons we can see none for. Mentally ill people trying to debate and speak at the blunt first. Start running around like chickens with no hands and going crazy off of some words. Only thing that became truly apparent that these motherfuckers is blood hurt. Yeah, somebody just give them a sign. They got too lost in all of that hatred and got them committing the crime. Some people sleep it up running the rub, but I don't treat shit like it's fine. Anything focus and hating on me, I'ma give my attention and time. Cause, yeah, these bitch ass humans won't leave me alone. These bitch ass humans won't leave me alone. You done got too lost when you're being alone. They be acting like they don't need me when they go. These bitch ass humans won't leave me alone. 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 People be lost in the stretches, they don't got a clue what anything feel like. Online it became another arena where people be thinking it's real life. No, you ain't gotta go get you a plane ticket just to go hop on a real flight. Just listen to girl on a Parliament, he gonna lift you up way up for real heights. And I know Billy goes, I'm over the Billy go. Yeah, it's things you ain't really know, cause you just a silly hoe. How when they go in the booth and start speaking the truth, hear me out, what's the dealio? I just be swimming all over these tracks and you don't know, yeah, he can really flow. No, I ain't getting emotional, but if you real, I bet you can feel me though. You could be putting your life up in danger for fucking around while I'm chilling, ho. The La Familia, can you tell me who are you shitting for? I might just be right next to a lily pine, doing things that you really won't. You motherfuckers just out to fulfill a mind, I won't get you a milli though. That is the reason why shit I be feeling off, shit ain't worth getting killed for sure. You need to just mind your business, it's like my dependence, so be not a witness. But best believe I'm offended, any crime committed, know the time is ticking, you ain't getting away. These bitch ass humans won't leave me alone. These bitch ass humans won't leave me alone. You done got too lost when you're being alone. They be acting like they don't need me when they go. These bitch ass humans won't leave me alone. 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 Constantly, 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 yeah. Constantly, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, constantly, constantly, yeah. Yeah, 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 constantly, constantly, constantly. Little like a tail back a sucky right there. Little for that. Little dark snake. And it don't go no further than that. Let's get into the spiritual energies, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you know it's the goddamn solar eclipse. It's the goddamn solar eclipse. Yeah. Goddamn solar eclipse.
It's the goddamn solar eclipse. Yeah. And what do that mean? And we're going to break it all down so you could know what's the appearance, how we see things, and how things being retracted, and how we feel. Now, here's the thing. Before we even give attributes to, oh, we can see stuff. We can feel things. There's physical things and there's internal things you could be influenced by that make it what? Impactful. It was impactful internally, or however the case may be. But everything we create is correlated around the attributes of the sun and the moon and the atmosphere that it correlates and create based upon all the connection it condense and become to be. And we give it an adjective term called the universe or whatever. So there will be no concept of even creating a term called seeing, visualizing, without the sun being here. Now you could say for the most part you can visualize being blind without seeing, but 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, I think it make more sense to say the sun was here before you. You know what I'm saying? You was born after somebody, little smack monkey that was born next to SeaWorld that then left into the rainforest and ended up in the jungle and had sex with the wrong hippopotamus, and somehow you got here. So because of your organs and attributes may be a little disbobulated in some way, shape, or form, don't mean you still can make a subjective conversation about, well, I can still visualize and I'm blind and I can't see. Ray Charles, he was blind. He seen how to get to that money. Stevie Wonder was blind. They see how to get to that money. So, well, we don't really want to talk about what you talk. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really about what you talking about. Sound like you get ready to cope. You know, it's just like you get ready to cope. You know what I'm saying? Them got people on this earth that don't give you no excuse to be like, I'm blind. That's why I don't know how to play the piano. No, we got people here who blind, still know how to play the piano. You know what I'm saying? So right there ain't no excuse or whatever the case may be when God got you, hopefully in his graces. It's graces. You know what I'm saying? Say he or she. I say it's graces. You know what I'm saying? But, peep game, there would be no such thing as you being able to see for you to even think that, okay, it make more sense to be like, I'm not seeing, I'm receiving. And for the most part, it's that internal, or it's that mixture of awareness and it clashing or whatever, and then you are receiving the experience, and then in that formality, that'll be one that you call, which you consider seeing or whatever the case may be. So it ain't no seeing or whatever the case when we talk about the sun. So whatever position that the sun is in, that's the spectrum or the light form, and then the seasonal transition that we're actually going to be able to see and experience. And then the things that's condensing from it, we could be interacting with it, and then we could call it influence or being impacted by it. AKA, you are impacted by spring, you are impacted by summer, you are impacted by fall, you are impacted by winter or whatever the case, or go outside in the middle of the winter time without no coat. You know what I'm saying? And then you tell me what's impactful or not. From the physical, then we get into the mental, then we get into the spiritual, what space we all in, because that's what a shift actually is. The space represent your spirit. If you don't like the word spirit, your individual spirit. Spirit just means multiple, soul means solo, individual, but we all got a space. So if you don't like the word spirit itself, your space, and you have your own individual space, whether you like it or not. And mentally you fulfill it, and physically it condenses and become the circumstances, situations that you fulfill off your mind. Like if you ain't like video games, you wouldn't have that on your mind to condense it to be in the physical world. If you like video games or whatever, you would condense that, and now you would have that in the physical world. So that's just a common sense or surface level to make sense of what we're getting ready to get into when we start to talk about spirituality. You see how we ain't talking about video games at all? See what I'm saying? And I love video games, but I'm just talking about for the circumstance of, well, the classic games or whatever the case. I don't know what y'all doing with the new stuff, but at the same time, help y'all understand things ain't about what we may be pointing to physically, but the things that we're pointing to physically come from the spiritual world. And if you don't like the word spirit, it comes from each individual space. And when we come together, we got a communion space. And whatever we develop with our mentality in that space, it fulfills that, and it becomes a fulfilling bubble. And therefore, if we carry out every attribute properly, then we all could feel fulfilled. Pardon me, feel fulfilled when we all have a piece of that ship we create that we're all riding on, hopefully going to the esoteric promised land, that it produced as a fruit into the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. We all got something good or fruitful to react or respond to, or whatever the case may be, internally and externally, based upon what communion, kinship that we create amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? So if you're amongst a whole bunch of other unproductive individuals, y'all on an unproductive spaceship that it may go to a promised land for a self-serving bias thing that all y'all agree first that still may crash at the end, because esoterically and spiritually speaking, y'all are in the wrong space. So you can manipulate the form in the spaceship to go into the direction it look like it's going in everybody else's esoteric spaceship boat direction. But for the most part, here's the thing. It may be different alternative motives of why it appeared to be in that direction but going into another direction. And it can persuade a lot of other spaceships / boats in this esoteric water to go into the wrong direction due to the fact of creating some delusion that this esoteric boat spaceship could go faster than another one. Now, you might look at that from a distance and be like, well, that showed me examples if I could reach my goals in the 1, 2, or third dimension a little faster, aka take a shortcut, take a monetary gain, be a cutthroat, step on somebody's neck a little bit, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, it may appear in the spiritual world that that direction may be in a direction that goes into your favor, into the promised land. But in the physical world, you could get confused within all those distractions because that boat got goddamn Michael Jordan with a goddamn standing 90-degree angle with a ball in his hand or whatever, and you going in that direction and stuff, thinking you going to reach the Holy Land, and all you did was put yourself in pressure if you don't get the next Jordans when the next ones come out that already came out 20 goddamn times already. You know what I'm saying? Don't go the only difference is might be $75 or $90 more. That's about it. It's about it. That's about it. Same colorway. I'm saying same silhouette. Same nigga on the side of it. You get jiggy with that. But yeah, beat game. So for the most part, that's just getting into the spiritual energy for people to understand where you at. If you don't like the word spirit, your space, then the timing you on is you developing that mind. All of those attributes within that arena, you know what I'm saying, for you could get yourself together so you're not outweighed by that extreme ocean. So you could carve out your bubble just right to see if you're going with the current or you're going against the current. Then it could distance to the 1, 2, or third dimension as a person making their life or their trial or tribulations a lot harder for themselves, or a person that come up with better attributes and better angles to deal with these things anytime they're going against the current. And for the most part, things get a little scattered and stuff like that. So you want to ride the waters a little bit smoother when it comes into the esoteric world, even if you know you're on the wrong path or you've been easily persuaded because somebody like Michael Jordan exists. So it's just to keep this, to help you understand spiritually and things of that nature, would things matter more, even if there's certain diluted and baggage on these terms themselves, like spirit, you know what I'm saying, your space, or mind, aka your time, the timing you on. A lot of y'all on demon time or whatever, and your goddamn matter, aka what matters to you, that actually just represents the physical world and your physical matter. You see what I'm saying? So at the same time, when you make things simple in your mind, it give you more justification and a safe haven and comfortability and familiarity anytime you're going through an uncomfortable or unfamiliar situation. And then when you're in that space, you're able to have better abilities to develop a know-how and not be so in a restrictive or wanting to run back to something that's previously was there, that's familiarity that may not even necessarily work or be beneficial or make you feel sheltered and secure. Now you're questioning moral systems or where you got those ideas from, or God that you have mixed with that belief, and therefore you're fighting within yourself. It just looked like you're fighting people outside of you. It just looked like you're victim shaming and victim blaming or whatever the case. So a lot of times we got to keep ourselves in check that we're not floating on a boat, esoteric spaceship that's going in a direction that it looked like it appeared to be going in our favor. But for the most part, your ego got ahead of you, and those esoteric filtering goggle glasses got the best of you, aka it was filtered through monetary gain, shortcut. So for the most part, you suggested that bias higher on a percentage scale of things going in your favor than spiritually looking at the subjective and the objective direction that the esoteric boat is going. And therefore, very so often we all fall short and make mistakes. So hopefully you don't fall short, and then you place more blame game onto other individuals other than taking spiritual and physical self-accountability for your participation in that bullshit. We ain't add the I and the T, YouTube. We ain't even add it. But that's it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. We add the IIT where it might be turning green like colors and stuff to yellow next to world buttons and stuff like that on people's algorithm page and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We add all that, but that's it. Yeah, that's it. We're talking about spiritual. So let's get into it. And I actually want to break down all signs too, so everybody can know what they actually experiencing personally or whatever, and things of that nature. But from a mental perspective, that was all physical. What we're going to experience from a mental perspective and things of that nature, right? I had to tie it to the spiritual, but we still going to tie it from how things may appear to be mentally or whatever. So that's going to be the internal energies before it condensed and be expressed physically, and it made all the physical world. So understand that this is the process. Is first spirit, mind, body. So now we're getting into the second process that a lot of y'all are confused with, thinking it's the first. But no matter how you look at it, if you know how to get a hold of it, no matter what you're into, business, entertainment, education, religion, or politics, you're going to be able to be that representation of the person that's coming at something in a new angle, based on something that's already been fixated in an angle, to update it, make it more fruitful, make it more of an appearance that's suitable to whatever it was going as far as goals or expanding or whatever the case may be, and actually carving out all the crash out energy, whether that's filtered through a person, place, or thing. You're going to be the representation of what the expression's supposed to be, how it's supposed to look, and the energy that needs to separate or conduct any negative add-on or attachment in some way, shape, or form. And that could be filtered through a person, place, or thing. So if you're productive, you're going to be a anchor into whatever that you're actually representing at the moment, and make that more fruitful. They all kind of stargates is opening right now if you're a productive individual. If you're unproductive, you're going to be left and stifled, whatever that word is. This stifled, that might not be it, but for the most part, held back or kind of stuck into an energy that may be outdated, and we're going to be all in a new shift. But you're going to have to use this new shift for old and outdated energies, which just leads to headbutting, frustration, dealing with the same person, place, or thing that still don't get it or whatever, or not understanding, or not even transforming their life in some way, shape, or form. So you being stuck waiting for validation for someone else in the same position as you. So y'all just constantly going down, 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 down into the algorithm of life, aka not being productive. And then when you start to kick in that wanting to be productive, it ain't going to be towards nothing else but unproductive things. So you become intelligent retards, degenerates, intelligent scammer, or intelligent bank robber. You see what I'm saying? A bunch of stuff that really ain't intelligent, but stuff you gonna develop intelligence behind. Because we always want to be smart, but we only intelligence towards our biases. And individuals that have salty and retarded and degenerate biases. So for the most part, if you're around some of these individuals, every now and then they can persuade you or take advantage of you or manipulate you, especially if they're your family, friends, associates, or coworkers, so they're close enough to be able to do it. There's going to be certain things you don't even justify or consider that they're able to utilize on you until an actual experience happen and let you know that you're getting rocked to sleep or whatever the case may be. Because in your mind, it's going to be all about, oh, that person would never do that. Oh, I feel a certain way, but I don't think it's them or whatever. And it's going to play out a lot of, before it even reached that, it's going to play out through a lot of you placing blame on other individuals in situations that ain't even got nothing to do with it, but it still got the same heart chakra or the same reciprocation or the same potency of reaction when it comes into the emotional stability. So when we interact, the feeling of how you're going to feel when you realize that going to be emanated in other areas in small portions that you feel the same way, until it all becomes the same size of what you need to see. And then that's when you're going to actually be in that realm of reality of those sizes of impactful potency of energies. And then that's when you're going to really be able to see what your spirit always been seeing, it was reacting and responding to. It was just collecting the data, collecting piece and piece together. And if you was falling short with your biases through a lot of these situations, a lot of times you expressed a lot of mistakes, wrong, placing wrong blaming on other individuals, unwarranted energy on certain individuals, waking up certain days not knowing why you feel certain ways and sense certain things, but not having it as a full understanding of what you're actually experiencing, or what's actually going on, or is this person doing this or not, or is this person cheating or not, or whatever. You're just having all these senses. All of those are just you as a spirit collecting data, but you get ready to face closer and closer and closer once all that data be the same cloud potency as what would you was affected by in the first place. And that's like you putting all the pieces together. Some people, it take more time than others, you know what I'm saying, and it'll play out in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension as actual time, weeks, months, years, before they get the full compilation of the energy, then be able to see it and be able to fully understand and match it, and be able to be like, oh, I'm being impacted by this size of this in this direction, and it'll be filtered through a shape and form of the person, place, or thing that you're dealing with at the moment, or however the case may be. But if you already know this going on, the sooner the better. You can reach those areas way faster than other individuals and stuff, and be able to be spot on. So it's like, even in areas where you may be wrong at, you're still in the right space spiritually. So you would get grace where you're wrong, and eventually down the line, you wasn't wrong. The only thing that was wrong with is you already being a walking bias, and how you filter out expressing you trying to figure out what's right. those are the only things that could be pointed to as what was wrong, how you did something or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, it was a reason why you was interacting in that way in the first place. And when you don't know how to intelligently bring that to the surface, the people that, or the person or the family friend and associate that's doing that to you can still maneuver around taking accountability. And if you don't know how to point that, a lot of times you're not giving God nothing to work with. You're not giving out the same energy of, even if you know what's going on or not, back or whatever the case. So it's nothing to work with that sometimes can even filter out without your assistance or whatever. But you didn't put the same amount of energy out because you didn't know. And those who lack knowledge shall perish. So even when you lack knowing how you're getting manipulated, sometimes you could still be in a position of perishing, because it's always about not what other people do to you, but how much you allow others to do to you also. So keep that in mind. It's a real spiritual game going on. You got to be a spiritual adult, you see what I'm saying? Therefore, you won't even become a crash out either when it becomes physically, because the situations in the world that you are in, you're not even in those positions of placing yourself as a crash out anyway. You're too busy mentally protecting what you know you have been given as a creative gift or just an energy state as far as mentally or whatever the case may be, and you're too busy protecting that. So external things even sometimes will even come extreme to take you off your course or get you distracted or whatever the case may be. But it's a beautiful thing that you are building, because it was something that even God or whatever, the universe or whatever you want to call it, an individual thing had to develop without no outside assistance, even if outside or external things is actually part of the cause of why I had to develop that resistance in the first place. So I'm saying that's how each spirit developed tougher mentalities that condense, and mental forms is what's condensing to become your organs and things of that nature. Even if you got weak skin at the moment or whatever, you could develop mental tough skin to utilize, for lack of better terms. And therefore, even when you come back, because we always coming back, I guarantee your mental and your physical skin to be a lot thicker than someone else who probably have to walk on eggshells just because they hate themselves in that time zone that you are born in. You see what I'm saying? It's a real spiritual thing. You gotta be deep in it and stuff like that. You can't be looking at everything as spooky or whatever. But what I'm talking about ain't spooky. We just making sense of stuff, because you need justifications about what you actually experiencing, not justifications about what someone came up with in their mind, and it lacks the first pretense justification for what we talking about in the first place. And that's where a lot of y'all get lost at a lot of times. Y'all leave the situation of what we're talking about and pointing to in the first place and get into the idea of something that may not even be what you're pointing to in the first place. And then y'all be reading a lot of things in history and books and all these type of concepts, and it may have a word in it that it's somebody else's idea. But once you leave what that word was pointing to, here's where you get lost in foggy man land, and then you start to create your own idea about what a person was talking about. For an example, we got different languages, we got different histories, we got different religions and stuff like that. Y'all would take a different word for the sun, or a different word for a nation, or a different word for an animal, and then you will over exaggerate it because you're lost in a different distracted Michael Jordan world or whatever the case may be. So you would say, so you would read the history and know, oh, soul or something like that. Oh, that's just another word for the sun. But in your mind, it ain't that. It ain't you, like how you walk around and tell somebody that's the sun and the moon and that's it, and y'all conversating and built on that. In your mind, it ain't like that. In your mind, it's something different. Oh, it's a different word for the sun because back then the ancients did this, that, the third. That no, it's just a different name for the sun. And if that name was still the sun, it'd be the same way in context how you talk about the sun to individuals right now. So that's where people lose themselves at time. They miss the point of what we're actually pointing at to talk about or create a word around in the first place, and get lost into an idea around it. And then it turn into foggy man or foggy woman land. You see what I'm saying? Just like you hear people say, oh, in the ancient time, they said the spirit means breath or whatever the case may be. Okay, well, instead of saying spirit back in the day, instead of saying breath back in the day, they said spirit. Now, the intent and how they looked at it, they may have looked at it like breath or air is a lighter shape and form for the spirit to take. So when you peel all the layers back, you peel your body back. You know what I'm saying? You peeling your blood and everything back, and then you peeling back your your breath, then that pulls back from thought and feeling, then you just a space experiencing that cycle being within that, and that's your own individual portion of that. That's a simple way of understanding that. They tried to make it simple and just say spirit means breath, but the allegory behind it is why they gave it importance. So when you miss what a person is actually pointing to, you get into, oh, spirit don't mean what y'all calling spirit today, it means breath, and if you breathe right, then that means you in spirit. That's dumb talk, stupid talk. You know what I'm saying? Some of these people got HIV right now talking like that, or diabetes. So a lot of times you don't even listen to people. You know what I'm saying? You're retarded. But like I said, right, mentally, there will be a complete shift on how we see and feel about particulars. So that's when it comes into the solar eclipse, or however the case may be. There will be a complete shift in how we see and feel about particulars. Now, spiritually, we're going to be choosing or deciding to focus or give attention to different spaces to be in to start developing our attention spans. So what that means, there's going to be certain things that you was giving attention to or entertaining that you no longer care to entertain anymore, or you're going to lessen up on a percentage scale and lessen up the quality and the potency. So the cloud going to become smaller and smaller, which is a representation of your spirit, your space, being in another space and facing another direction to develop a cloud in that area that ultimately condense and become water flow, blood, adrenaline, and you physically going in that direction because you already have made up your mind as the intent in the spiritual world when you're developing the mind state and choosing to go into that other esoteric location to develop those states of beings, awarenesses, gas, liquids, and solids, and physically. So for the most part, this is how we're going to be experiencing things spiritually. This can lead out in situations where your marriage, your relationships, your friendships, your business partners, a lot of switch up energy, especially if you're around a whole bunch of unproductive people. It's going to play out as in the common go-to that the spirit don't necessarily say, but this will be going on. I didn't know what I want. You know what I'm saying? Or I ain't know what I want yet. Or I thought this one. There's going to be a lot of that energy and people taking their mentality and their actions and expressing it the best way that they can to persuade it to not take accountability and to feel like they're doing things right. Whereas really just to get more on the side of their bias and ego, jumping from one bad fruit to another bad tree fruit as esoteric monkeys, still not necessarily knowing themselves. So externally it play out as them not knowing what they want. And then a lot of times when they find someone who's just like them, then a lot of times they think that's what they want. But then that be the first person that switch up on them and be like, you ain't what I want. Because really, these individuals is just in the spiritual world to develop the mentality of not knowing what they want, taking bad fruits, and they physically be around each other and get into relationships and business and friendships and partnerships, or the favorite family little group that might be the manipulator kind of spectrum or whatever the case may be. And then a lot of times, once they're in that energy, they're just playing games with each other. A person don't know what they want, but they jump into situations because it start off like it look like it's something that they want. They're trying to find it though. And these are the first toxic individuals in your life. This is the first time you was a toxic individual in someone else's life. Something was going good for that first week, month, first year, couple years. Now you don't know what you want. You know what I'm saying? Now it ain't that. And then you be making up all these other type of things of why it ain't what you want. You'll make up, oh, something changed that you did, or something changed about me, or something things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, y'all will make up all kind of stuff. Y'all be crazy. Like, so y'all got to be careful at this time with the solar eclipse. A lot of that energy going on. People having brand new ways of seeing and feeling about things that they want to get fixated in, because the fixated energies is Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. So when we got it in Leo, it's going to be fixated on our way of seeing and feeling about things. So as we got something new going on, new moon, solar eclipse, we're going to have a brand new thing, person, place, or thing, objective, goal that we want to fixate ourselves in and only be seen in that representation. And if you've been highly unproductive, or it don't even matter at this time, if you're a person who's been left to your devices or whatever, you'll pick that as a form to start to display amongst your relationships or whatever. You'll just pick anything to be like, oh, I want something new. A business endeavor, I want something new. A business angle, I want something new. And if you're not productive, a lot of these things may be on the basis of crash out energy. So you got to be careful that all that giddy and goofiness and being excited that it filter out and want to be expressed as it'll be filtered through you thinking you doing something right, or just the attention that you could get because it's something new alone is going to make it possibly be successful. And you got to be careful with that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a sticky game, especially since 2016, really starting 2012, but then kicked off 2016 and where we at now. So many shifts and how things is moving fast right now. You could put all your eggs in a basket and crash out. And it could probably be something that looked like it was $1 million lottery ticket or whatever the case may be the day before, the night before. You got to be careful in today's time. That goes for picking friendships, relationships, especially if you ain't already involved in that energy, especially if you high on a percentage scale being an incel a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? One thing could be one thing one day, and it'd be a whole nother thing the next day or whatever. And going through too many of those shifts built mental trauma. It'll make a person want to stay away from the world, not deal with nobody. And it could be somebody that you come across or in your environment that actually you need to connect with, or someone you meet online that you actually need to connect with. But you got all this pent up trauma, you got all this restriction energy, you got all these new boundaries and limits or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times you really just blocking yourself. So don't allow perceptions that you may be lost in to control your actions and your internal energies you be impacted by. Because a lot of times that's what's going on. It's so simple. It started off when we was all in high school, and that internal energy, it allow us to be so distracted we can't focus in math or science class because we might got everlasters on our feet, and the girl we like got Jordans on and stuff like that, and the dude that she liked, he got on Jordans or whatever it may be, and the friend we walked to school with or rode the bus with, they got on Jordans or whatever the case. So you know, so the internal energy get real confusing, especially when you got retarded parents who don't know how to talk with the mind. You know what I'm saying? So they only know how to say stuff like, I fed you no matter if it's enough or not. It was enough to make a turd, or like, you know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that to like, it ain't really about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Really about nothing. You can't really think and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So at some point you got to get over these energies. But this is what we're starting to understand internally. You know what I'm saying? It's not actually about fighting or getting over on each other on those energies, because externally it don't lead nowhere. And then we got a bunch of examples, a bunch of goddamn Spike Lee movies or whatever the case may be to show us, and Will Smith shows and stuff like, no, not Will Smith, but the Wayne brothers and Marlon Wayans and all the kicks he had and stuff like that. We got a lot of examples to show us and stuff like that. If you don't kind of compartmentalize right, you can crash out and these things won't even mean nothing, because really you would get old and they're going to come out with the same color and silhouette. And the only difference is going to be about $90 or $200 added to it or whatever. So yes, at some point, you know what I'm saying? That's what we're going through right now. What's real? What's a souvenir? What's not? Because I see and feel a different way about it. I got the feeling. So that's that goddamn, that solar eclipse energy. And that's how we're going to see it spiritually. We all going to be in a different space. So the things we was looking at from a previous space, we're going to be seeing it from a different angle. Even if we in the same space, you might not care about something as much as you did. You might start over exaggerating to care about something more than you previously did. You know what I'm saying? You might start disliking something more that you liked. You might start liking something that you previously disliked or whatever the case. It's going to play out in a whole bunch of different ways or whatever. So hopefully you're not an unproductive person that have expressed yourself so much you got a bad face card when it comes to esoteric recommendation and esoteric currency. So when it's time for you to get into this new light, you still got to deal with all this esoteric David and Goliath rocks in your glass house that you built and showed everybody that it was a good, proud house that wasn't glass in the esoteric world when you thought it was all good to express those energies. Now that you want this new porch, you know what I'm saying, you want this new type of thing in your yard or whatever the case may be, people gonna hate on it because they're gonna be like, wasn't you just hating on something like that last week? Or wasn't you just expressing that porches do this and people who got this type of stuff is this? You know what I'm saying? You don't want all that. That's why sometimes y'all be having to chill out, especially y'all Leos. Y'all get yourself, Leos and Aquariuses get themselves in those type of situations way more than other signs, where they've been presented some self-serving energy so much, and I don't want to call that self-serving, but some opinionated energy so much when it's time, because there's always a shift, there's always a different season. You have no choice, no matter the age, as a Leo or Aquarius, to reach those situations where, oh, maybe I don't dislike that as much, or maybe now y'all start dealing with internal fights. How much internal pieces of that shall be expressed? Or shall be expressed at all. And it'll be situations that start playing out where you internally know, as the Leo and Aquarius, you missing money in this area. This relationship conversation style don't gotta be just this rugged the way it is. This situation over here could be a little bit more open. I don't gotta be that vulnerable over here. If it'd be a lot of those things that play out in all y'all internal situations. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you a Leo or Aquarius, I ain't that. I'm a Leo ascendant, but I ain't no a Leo sun sign. But I'm into this, so I understand. And for the most part, and just dealing with relationships and networking with these are things that y'all commonly experience a lot, especially when I see these things in a group effort situation or whatever, and I'm dealing with an Aquarius or a Leo. So sometimes I check y'all at times and take you to the side so it ain't a situation that hurt your ego in a way I didn't mean to, because I know you a Leo and Aquarius. No, I have to have a conversation with you to the side. I can't have especially if it puts you in a percentage scale of a light where you're being taught something or told something that lower your ego a little bit. You know what I'm saying? No matter how nice it may became or how friendly we may be or whatever. I know to the Leo or Aquarius, that takes a personal bond if I'm getting ready to do that. So this will be my relationship with you. Take you to the side and be like, yeah, I know how you feel about this or whatever, but the situation we in, you ain't even got to outright express all that or whatever, because this person may think like this person individually is like this or whatever the case may be. So it may be a time we got to play a certain way when we hear or this party or this or whatever the case may be, that you get ready to say something because I know it makes sense. Trust me, Aquarius. Or you get ready to express something because I know, Leo, everybody will see that and that's the best way to go about it. That won't be right. It'll be something that maybe cut you out from something that can actually be a door opening from the situation we participating with at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I don't need, and if you coming with me, I don't need somebody taking me to the side. Taking me to the side saying, hey, dude, that Leo you brought with you or whatever, they seem like they're going to get all the attention and they all over the place and they're just in it for other reasons. Or if I brought the Aquarius, hey, man, that Aquarius you brought with you or whatever the case may be, yeah, they might be talented or whatever, but their attitude, what they said or whatever, like somebody up to something. I don't need them. They coming in the room like I need them or what. You know what I'm saying? I don't need, I be understanding these things. So sometimes if I'm cool and we in a situation where things could go forward for us or whatever, and we in a group effort, I'll pull the Leo or I'll pull the Aquarius to the side because I know the possibilities that make or hurt us all. You see what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. Because I'm an Aries. So Aquarius is my sextile and Leo is my trine. So for the most part, I'm pretty sure they will be able to calculate situations that they'd be able to do that for me, or however the case. But that's how it will play out. But when it comes into the fixed signs themselves, right? Now, Tauruses, this is now when it comes into the solar eclipse or whatever the case may be, this time, because it's a 90-degree angle, it may be a little frustrating due to your comfort zone being forced to have to switch up. It was things that you was doing in your life, whether family, friends, associates, your business endeavors, whatever. But the things that make you motivated to do these things every day, so you could be like, yeah, this is what I do. You built comfort zones. There's certain comfort zones that allow these things to continuously be in your life or whatever. And without that grounding, keyword Taurus, without that grounding, filter through a comfort zone, these things may be a little hazardous when you participate without that grounding. So it's an internal comfortability and laziness beyond external versions, because a lot of people may hear other astrologers and hear them say Tauruses are lazy. When you hear this, my channel is about spirituality. These things could be physically, but all signs got possibilities, especially the fixed signs can be lazy. But we're talking about internal when we're talking about spiritually. So sometimes that's being lazy on a thought form, a thought pattern, lazy on a feeling and emotion. So there may be feelings and emotions or thought forms that need to be expressed and communicated amongst people you close to, like loved ones, friends, associates, and coworkers, that the Taurus may be a little lazy on expressing. So sometimes they replace it or overcompensate it with certain actions. So the Taurus might not tell you they love you or give you that emotional connection. They're lazy on that. But there may be a certain trait that they do to replace it. And if you're not able to see it, you may call that as one of the problems to the relationship that you have in at the moment. You see what I'm saying? So it's an internal laziness at times. You got to actually put them in a situation to actually get up as the internal raging bull or bullette, being a male or female, to actually express that emotion to you, express that temperament to you, express that thought form to you. Other than that, they calm, cool, and collected and about their business or whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? So it's about that. It ain't about physical laziness if you ain't listening to no spiritual astrologer. You know what I'm saying? Mess around, they'll tell you all Aries like sports. They'll tell you Virgos ain't spiritual. They'll tell you Sagittarius is crash outs. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it's a spiritual reason to these things that sometimes every now and then it do play out physically. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, it do play out physically, but for the most part, always attack things in order. Spirit, mind, body, external world. You good to go. If something can't make sense in that way, that means you ain't got it together yet. If you have to fall short on one or the other, well, maybe let me add the external physical world and see how it matches my physical and then please my mind. Or maybe let me use my mind to understand what I'm going through physically so I can utilize the external world. You still out of order. And every now and then you can get lost in something that makes sense, because what you plucking and piecing together, really, it only takes the shape and form of the cloud of your bias, not the shape and form of carving your bias for the objective that really all you need to do is find and sync and relatability. And sometimes finding and sync and relatability takes sacrificing pieces of your cloud. You can't bring certain thoughts and feelings that carve out as a certain shape that is really that puzzle piece for you, but you'll be messing up trying to fit in or whatever the case may be because you ain't letting certain things go, carving your puzzle piece. See what I'm saying? So when it comes into being in sync and relatable, that's an energy on its own. If you don't know how to participate with that outside of your own bias, you're only going to be trying to find things relatable and sync to you. But when you take your own bias, already understanding that, always go for that subjective to find it with the objective. How can it, even if you can't find it, chill out on something, calm down on it for a while, and come back to it. You'll find it. And then your bias, the more you know how to relate it to being in sync and being relatable, then for the most part, you still have your piece, but you're going with the flow. You're not going against anything and trying to find people to make going against something feel more safe or whatever until y'all crash out at a later time. So that's how the spiritual world works too. But for the most part, here's the thing. Tauruses. So you may be a little frustrated due to comfort zones being forced to have to switch up and you having to see and feel a different way about something or a subject matter during this particular time. You know what I'm saying? All these comfort zones you had, you got to see it and feel it in a different way. And if you're not evolving, a lot of these things are going to leave you in hazardous mode when it comes into the things you have to do anyway. And the things that keep your life going is just those grounding things ain't there, or they switched up, or someone kicked those cans down the road, or took the little tablecloth and swept it, but they did it so slick that the plates and nothing fell, no drink fell, whatever. So things like that play out in the physical world. Like maybe it was something you did before you went to work you can't do no more. Maybe it was maybe a law changed that you don't like. Maybe maybe something in your relationship, pardon me, that your partner don't do anymore that allowed you to feel comfortable when you did something else. You know what I'm saying? Maybe homegirl don't pack your lunch anymore, so when you go to work, you uptight or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like little stuff like that. Your comfort zones, the grounding, the thing that you sit on in the esoteric world as a couch, you can't sit down no more. Somebody making you stand up. And now you got to change your way of seeing and feeling about that to develop new comfort zones as a Taurus. Now, Aquariuses, right? Because y'all the main star players. We're gonna get into all the signs, but y'all the main star players, the fixed signs. Tauruses, Aquariuses, Scorpios, and Leos. Now, when it comes to Aquariuses, you may feel opposite to what everyone else start paying or giving attention to, and it may seem like you indistant or indifferent. It may be indifferent or different to your comfort zone or your way of communication, your communication style, aka having to get with a new program or learn how to swim in new waters. So that's going to play out in multitudes of ways when it comes to your goals, your business, your associations, your relationships. And you may find yourself feeling uncomfortable, but seeing things from a subjectory that is things that you have to do, things you have to participate, things you have to get over that normally the situation didn't play out, that you have to deal with it in that way. But Leo is your opposite sign. So it's forcing you to have to see and feel about something differently, but it's your opposite sign. All things that make you feel uncomfortable. If you're a sun sign Aquarius, your moon sign, your earth sign. So all the external things that represent things, if you do it, you will feel vulnerable or you will feel uncomfortable or whatever the case may be. There's going to be certain things that you have to see and feel about different in that area. And you can't be opposed to it. It got to be something you agreeable to, whether mentally or physically. And that might be something that you've been considering retarded or degenerate for your whole life or whatever. But you really going to be saying, all you Aquariuses, y'all really going to be saying the words right now. We must be in a new world. We must be in a new shit. Aquarius really gonna be saying those words right now more than anybody else, because really they world crashing too. They world crashing more because they was really up here, microphone head aliens and stuff like here. Now they got to learn how to swim underwater and be the reverse alien, be the sea hammerhawk, horse face fish or something like that, shark. I'm saying they gotta learn how to swim now and stuff. You can't really fly no more in the head or whatever. You gotta learn how to swim in your emotions and intellectually carve these things out and communicate it sufficiently and not run away from those communications. You can't do that no more. No, so you gotta change your whole way of seeing and feeling about things. And if you're productive, you're gonna start to see how it benefits your money when you did that, when you do it, and you're gonna be able to counterpartmentalize all the previous situations in your life if you was to add that attribute. How certain relationships would have been better, certain networking would have been better, or whatever, if you wasn't so opposing to that idea before it was even expressed, and you never expressed it throughout your life that you're going to be able to look back at to be like you should have. You know what I'm saying? You may have seen certain similar traits through other individuals, and then later on in your life, see how they have obtained certain things that you wanted with that trait that you refuse to do or dislike or claim that it was going to get them in a worse situation than you. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, and it's like knucklehead energy too. Fixed signs are knuckleheads, period, especially Aquarius. Life be having to bump you on your head about 45 times in 40 days and 40 nights before you start to realize you in a whole new reservation and stuff like that if you made it, and you got to apply with those new rules. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand these things. Now, when it comes into and then Aquariuses hate that too. They hate that authoritative energy or whatever, but you got to deal with it, especially during this time. And you'll understand that your way of seeing and feeling about things is really what puts you in that state anyway. You never had to be in that space and constantly have to play devil's advocate with yourself and others. You didn't have to. Sometimes you get to supply and things just be smoother, and you have to realize that you don't even want to create objective thoughts. That thing didn't have to be seen as negative in the first place. Now, it is a lot of things Aquarius put us on to help us realize it is negative, but a lot of times they always go too far. Now, when it comes into Scorpios, right? Y'all may be a little frustrated with how much openness or vulnerability has to be accepted to move swiftly in this new shift and, of seeing and feeling about things or subject matter. And if you're not an extreme restrictive type of Scorpio, lower octave Scorpio, you will be able to start seeing certain things as not even vulnerability or whatever that you thought. And you might be in the same space as an Aquarius. You might not say it as much, but a lot of Scorpios, especially if y'all got family, friends, associates, or coworkers in your lives, be prepared to hear, hey, man, we must be in a new world. But it ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know what they internally dealt with and got over and start putting pieces out to start realizing through the reciprocation and experience, oh, it ain't that bad. Why I've been holding myself back from doing that? Making up that people will see it this way, or it's that way and it look normal, but I know if people see me doing it, it'll look weird. Or like you're starting to get out of a lot of stuff and accept we're in a new time, and what you consider opening yourself to be vulnerable ain't necessarily going to put anyone or you in a vulnerable position. So you're having your own fight that also may put you in a lot of situations that you realize it was blocking money. You know what I'm saying? It was blocking new viewpoints, blocking new ways of dealing with relationships. Certain things you could have expressed or whatever could have made the whole situation way better than what it currently at, or whatever the case may be, based upon how you internally thought you would have felt if you would have expressed it or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So all your Scorpios getting ready to go through that. So don't sting yourself at this time due to the fact of seeing something new, feeling something new, even before you express it and being like, oh, no, 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 no. Then you start fighting with yourself. Then you sting yourself once you manifest or materialize an experience or a situation that show you that wasn't even something to run away from. Someone must have been in that same space that had that same thought and feeling, did it, and they're in front of you right now, more successful. It'll be that energy. That's when you know you stung yourself. You know what I'm saying? And now you done died into hatred. You done died into being a hater. You know what I'm saying? Now you wake up every day trying to find something wrong with that person and carve it out and take their energy and put it in your space to make it seem like what you was doing was right. And that's a hard battle that Scorpios be taking at times. Leos be taking those type of battles too, but these Scorpios, y'all go deep with that. Y'all live a whole 10 years of animosity and get back at someone and even do nothing to you and stuff like that. It's something that you know you fell short. They did it vicariously, if that's the word, based upon just them being in that thought pattern or whatever, and you mad at that now and stuff like that. Especially y'all Scorpios that be in sports, y'all be like grudgeful towards y'all teammates. A Scorpio will poison one of their teammates. Oh, no, they won't. No, they won't. I don't want to put that on Scorpios. I don't want to put that on y'all, stuff like that. Don't let me get to Googling. Don't y'all Scorpios. I'll let y'all. I'll let y'all. I'm saying, but for the most part, yay. Be careful, Scorpios. Don't be so much in that restrictive energy because you don't got to. People ain't seeing it that way or whatever. Even other Scorpios or whatever. So what you make up is based upon you just being too in depth into the scenario and you coming up with multiple ways of how it possibly could be seen that you don't know your intent and your decision making internally is putting it into it's a negative light. And that might not ever be a negative light to others. And you can learn a lot from that from your opposite sign, Taurus, where they do a lot of things where morally or externally, person should never do these things. But goddamn it, you keep seeing them getting checks and stuff like that or whatever. So you have to start realizing, well, maybe it ain't got nothing to do with why I think about it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to necessarily do it just like the Taurus or whatever, but for the most part, you could take certain ideas to consideration, take certain actions, take certain qualities. You know what I'm saying? Now, Leos, right? You're going to be the example of what to do or not to do, Leos. So you're going to be the example of what not to do or what to do. So you ain't got no example. So for the most part, you're just like ahead. You're the pilot of the esoteric spaceship or the boat. You know what I'm saying? So the direction you're going, if you're a productive spirit, you're going to be going the right way. You just got to have faith. There ain't no example like all of us have, all of us other signs have, right? You're just going to be the example. If you're the Leo sun, externally, you're with your actions and how you come up with that. If you're the Leo moon, internally, and how you develop your emotions. If you're the Leo ascendant, basically your personal space or whatever, or how other people need to conduct their personal space or deal with their personal issues, insecurities, or how to conduct or express their personal interests. But this Leo sun signs, right? You're going to be the example. So you're going to be the pilot or pilots, male or females, of all of our esoteric spaceships and boats as the example of what to do and what not to do. But you ain't got no example like all of us. So for the most part, how you going to know you're going to be productive if all of us behind you on the boat or the esoteric spaceship saying, oh yeah, you're doing a good job being an esoteric sailor and you got to be a custom one, being a pilot or the pilot or whatever the case. Oh, that's dope. I like how you spent the wheel or whatever the case. Oh, I like this direction we going. Or that look like it's going to the promised land. Even if it ain't there yet and it may not be the promised land, it look like it's promising or whatever the case. It look like it's a little bit better direction than someone that may be on the side of us or however the case may be, right? Now, if you're the unproductive Leo, you're going to be all the examples of what not to do and not how to steer the goddamn ship or however the case, being a pilot or the pilot. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be in a situation where it look like it's crash out. It look like we're going in a direction for no reason. You might try to get creative like, hey, y'all, I can take a shortcut. Watch me do this trick or whatever. And we ain't going to never get to Disneyland. You know what I'm saying? However the case may be, going in your direction or whatever. Just crash out. Yeah, it might have appeared to be a good idea. You might have thought we was going to blow up and we went somewhere and blew up literally. So yeah, be careful, Leos, that you don't get that in your mind. Yeah, I'm lit. I'm about to blow up, and then the physical situation, things get too hot, the whole situation blow up. It's all negative. You did it the wrong way. That wasn't the right way. You see what I'm saying? So Leos, got to be careful right now. But y'all the examples of what to do and what not to do. So there ain't no example. So you're gonna know you're doing wrong and being unproductive based upon us saying, nah, the ship ain't going the right way. We going off the cliff. So don't try to do no cartwheel in front of us and be like, no, it just looked like it's off the cliff, but it's really the promised land. We just gotta do this, and we got to be on Mortal Kombat 2 Annihilation, jumping that circle ball, Raiden told goddamn Liu Kang and Katana to jump in, and then hopefully we can make it if we take that turn the right way and don't end up being in fire and lava. You know what I'm saying? We got time for all that and getting chased by the extermination squad and Mr. X children. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ain't got time to be getting all the attention for the wrong reasons, hypothetically, and making it make sense speaking. You know what I'm saying? Nobody got time for all that. So Leos, y'all gonna be in a situation where you start getting all the attention for all the wrong reasons, and we ain't never gonna get to the Holy Land destination, or you ain't gonna never reach your goals, to make it simple, or whatever the case may be. F you unproductive. But just to close it out, as far as for Leo, you will be the example on what to do and what not to do when it comes into how we see and how we feel about things and how we express ourselves. If you are unproductive Leo, you will be in thought. If you are an productive Leo, you will be the thought and action of how something or subject matter is supposed to be seen or received or expressed. If you are unproductive Leo, you will be the example of what not to do, what not to give attention to. And not just you, it might be something you're giving attention to. You're going to be the example of that's the thing we shouldn't give attention to because it got your mind flunked out about something, however the case may be. Or the example on how not to express ourselves based upon reciprocation or consequences that you end up receiving by expressing yourself that way, aka being a pilot or pilot of the ship, and you being a live representation for everybody else in their ship of don't go that direction. These guys don't know where they're going. They got no direction, but they trying to lead everybody. Cult leaders, all the fixed signs. Leos, I love y'all. Now look, check this out. Cardinal signs, right? Aries, this is going to be a time where you experience new gifts. This is for Aries. New gifts or or door openers to be able to fixate the things that you was initiating or starting. If you're productive, you're going to start to feel more comfortable with going about something or going fully with something and fixating yourself in that new way which you was already into, as far as that new way of seeing and feeling about something that you already into as an Aries. You're going to find areas where you can fixate it now, and that's going to play out as opportunities, and that's going to look like safe havens or new fruits or whatever the case. Or if you are unproductive, you may develop a lot more bad habits because there's a lot of creative gifts, aka the Trine 120-degree angle, that you got access to that you don't use to its full potential. And you may be distracted with other things, so that energy is going to get drained filter through those other things, and therefore now you're going to be scattered and all over the place during harvest season when the sun go into Virgo. So be careful of that. Also blaming others and stuff like that, that you ain't taking an opportunity or you still in some certain situation personally. So be careful of that also. You might blame others or why you single about certain things. Now here's the thing. Now when it comes to Capricorns, you're going to have new understandings or new misunderstandings. So if you're productive, new understandings on how to get things to run through smoothly based upon things you want to do. Based upon Leo is going to create that seeing and feeling in that area that you're fixated on. But based upon your angle, 150 degree angle, you may misunderstand the point, but this Leo new moon is going to allow you to see that point that you misunderstand, that point you wasn't conducting, that control that you was trying to be too controlling over. You know what I'm saying? That energy you trying to be a boss at, how to actually go about it, how to actually express yourself, that it don't develop all that animosity or people that's not even trying to give you the grace or the benefit of the doubt, but you still the better representation for that circumstance or that position or whatever. Leo's going to give you more better understandings of how to go about that if you're productive. If you're an unproductive Capricorn, then you're going to be in a situation where your way of seeing and expressing things is still going to be outdated. And even if you got a good idea, people are not going to want to put that in your hands based upon the authoritative energy or the demanding energy, right? So your way of expressing yourself hasn't been conducted or whatever. Your way of seeing things haven't been adjusted yet within a new moon. And that's if you're an unproductive Capricorn. Now, Libras, right? There's going to be new opportunities to express yourself. And so don't pass up opportunities right now. If you've been developing, if you've been productive, you've been developing good relationships or a good face card, esoterically speaking, when it comes to esoteric currency or whatever, you're going to be able to use it. Opportunities, because it's the sextile energy. So 60 degree angle. So you're going to be able to use these things. There's going to be some form of connection when it comes to a person, place, or thing that wasn't there previously that allowed things to run through a lot more smoothly of things you was initiating, creating, being a cardinal sign or however the case may be. Now, if you unproductive though, right, you're going to be stuck into a situation of being guilty by association. And even if you're the main dominant protagonist within the situation, you're not going to get the full credit and you're not going to get the highest potential of influence or energy or impactful quality due to the fact of what you are a part of and what you're choosing to try to create some fairness and balance in. That might be the very same people, places, and things that's creating unfairness and balance for you, or for you to get the short end of the stick of a circumstance or situation that you probably put more effort in or however, especially when it comes to your relationships. A lot of y'all put way more effort in y'all relationships just to get the bad end of it, bad end of the stick, get the stinky foot of the person, and then for the most part, you're left with all the baggage or whatever, and this person is in another situation, not even taking accountability or not knowing the extreme impact energy that it influenced not only you, but others involved or whatever the case may be, especially if y'all got children. So Libras, don't get caught in that situation right now also. Cancers, right? Now there's going to be new abilities to take what you thought about, to take Cancers. There's going to be new abilities to take what you thought, because it's just a fatal attraction. So it's just on the other side. You can choose to participate or don't. But if you're productive, there's something to participate with anyway. If you're unproductive, you're going to get distracted and find something to participate with. And it may be extreme negativity because you only find the things you're uncomfortable with. And that might be filtered through a person, place, or thing that you choose to become enemies with, especially if it's a family, friend, associate, or coworker that you get away with that energy with. So be careful of that. Don't be no extremist as a Cancer at this time. But for the most part, new abilities to take what you thought about or way of communicating to be a little bit more creative and or expressive in better ways. You know what I'm saying? So you got these abilities right now to be able to do it if you're productive. Or if you're unproductive, right, it's going to be nothing to give attention to. So whatever you've been paying attention to may be old and outdated. So there's no emotional reaction or there's no energy or familiarity. The thing that you was familiar with that you was doing is starting to become unfamiliar. It's starting to become distant. It's starting to become not as sparkful of an energy or whatever the case. And that can be filtered through a relationship, how you deal with your business, how you deal with your circumstances. The subjectory quality is going to lessen up in some way, shape, or form if you're unproductive. So you're not changing, adjusting something and presenting some new way of expressing yourself, right? So when you fail to do that as a Cancer during this particular time, you will see the relationships you participate with or your business or your goals start to drain up a little bit. And that's like the universe forcing you to get on board. You know what I'm saying? It's going to force you to get on board. There's some type of new moon, solar eclipse, blocking of a way of something being seen, whether that's filtered through the way you is expressing yourself or how you choose to see something. That's being blocked out. And then for the most part, it's being replaced with an emotion, the moon, but that's a new moon. So it's being replaced with a new emotion that ain't there yet. So you're going to be a new fish swimming in new water, aka having to develop a void, develop your own feeling and emotion that needs to be expressed, aka after the solar eclipse, because that's what we having right now. So you got this new emotion that needs to be expressed, that ultimately going to be a new way of seeing and feeling about something and how you go about something, or however the case may be. But you're left to develop that on your own. And if you're on any outdated energy, it's going to be left into your Cancer familiarity caring energy, and you only care for that familiarity. So it's going to be you trying to uphold something outdated. And if that filter out through a relationship or a business endeavor, that's going to be the area you start to see the potency or quality lessen up. So be careful, Cancers, during this particular time, that you're not left in an old cloud and water and everybody else is in new waters and stuff like that. Now, for the most part, mutable signs. Now, Geminis, right? This is a time that is going to, because this is a fatal attraction too. No, this is a sextile opportunity, 60-degree angle. So there's going to be opportunities to see your ideas or creative actions if you've been productive. There's going to be opportunities to see your ideas, creative actions, or that you were working on take off, or a situation change for the better in your goals, or things that you were stuck in, you about to start seeing that you're not stuck in it anymore. So that air is going to find a pocket to be able to escape, because air is a thought, and a lot of y'all thoughts been trapped in tires and pipes and stuff created by other individuals, and you've been left in that pressure system. But during this particular time with the sextile energy, pressure bust pipes. So your mutable air is going to find an air pocket to be able to escape. Now, if you're unproductive, loose lips sink ships, and air pockets and air holes. So if you're participating with something negative, or even if you're committing crime or whatever the case may be, you could be the main anchor to get everything crashed out or however the case may be. Shouldn't be doing crime anyway. But if you're doing things productive, that little thing that you was in, as far as that pressure pipe or that esoteric tire that someone to have developed to keep you trapped, you're going to be able to find an air pocket to be able to break free, and that thing going to be flat. So whatever was keeping you trapped, they're going to start reaching negativity and be a flat tire, esoterically speaking, or that pressure pipe that busts, and then you're going to be the air that escape and actually be able to show everybody else how to actually go in the wind and go about your direction in your life without no one holding you back anymore, keeping you in some type of cycle or pressure pump. You know what I'm saying? And make you constantly be emotionally pressured, knowing that you an air sign and you ain't got time to be dealing with that 24/7. You want your thoughts to transmute through creativity, not analyzing emotions all day that people putting you in because they're in some type of funk, or putting you in some type of funk, whether relationship wise or business wise. So that's what y'all going to be experiencing during this particular time being a Gemini. So it's opportunities to see your ideas or creative actions you were working on take off, or a situation change for the better when it comes to your goals, or if you're unproductive, being stuck with thought forms, right, from expressions and feelings that still bother you, and you might just come up with new tactics on how to take care of them or whatever, that leads you into unproductive and crash out energies, because you're still going to be in some cloud because you've been unproductive. So you're still lingering into how to take care of these unproductive situations you develop. So when you do reach this new moon energy, you're going to have new ideas and new angles just for old and outdated things that have put you in more crash out energy. So just be careful that you're not unproductive at this time being a Gemini, and you've been putting your 1-2 down being productive. All that new energy is going to be catered towards that actually break you free from whatever circumstance you in. Now, when it comes into Sagittarius, right? Now, Sagittarius ascendants, risings. During this particular time of the solar eclipse, this is your trine sign. So you're going to witness similar experiences like Aries, like me. So for the most part, here's the thing. New abilities to not worry or overanalyze about, hold on, my bad. We ain't on Sagittarius, we on Scorpio. No, my bad, Virgo. I might as well go into Sagittarius though, then we'll do Virgo. But Sagittarius is, right? The gift to bring, the gift of being able to see or be more effective, or to seem more effective, or to appear to be more effective in some way, shape, or form when it comes to your viewpoints and actions to the because that points to Leo. Leo is going to fixate these energies and make it appear to not be so extreme. It's almost like a fire that go all over the place that possibly could burn down a whole esoteric neighborhood. It's almost like Leo is the fixed fire. It's able to take your fire that's all over the place and put it in one area, so that play out esoterically speaking through the physical world as your expression and how you see things don't appear to be as extreme to other individuals. And you ain't changed nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's just we're going through a new shift. And the new shift is in Leo. And that's a favorable sign to you, a trine, like Aries is. Aries, Leo, and Sag are the fire signs. So for the most part, your expression is already in favor of what people need to realize and wake up to and start to express new in the first place. And signs that was probably indifferent to that, you're going to be the example on making them feel like they may have made a mistake on carrying their own way of thinking and acting, or however the case may be. If you're the productive Sagittarius, so keep that in mind. You're going to have the gift of being able to seem more effective when it comes into your viewpoints and actions to the point that Leo energies fixate your qualities so it don't appear to be as extreme no more, and people understand you a little better. So keep that in mind. And when it comes to you being unproductive, if you're unproductive, you could be the new scapegoat. You could be the new scapegoat for what a unresponsible person is. You know what I'm saying? You may have a family friend, associate, coworker, can't wait to point something out and make you the face of everybody else, so everybody else could be warned about, that represent being an unresponsible person, an unintelligent person, or a crash out. You know what I'm saying? Even if you ain't crashing out, it's just what you get ready to do appear to be extreme to individuals because you may be still doing it in an old and outdated way. It ain't even that extreme or however. So you got to be careful at this time being the Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying? Due to the fact of you having beneficial gifts if you're productive, but if you're unproductive, it's just people can't wait to cast you out, or can't wait to make you the face of the unresponsible family member, friend, associate, or coworker, the unintelligent family friend, associate, or coworker that they come across like they're intelligent but they not, or the crash out that they acting like that's the one you need to watch, the person that look or say they ain't gonna crash out is the one that crash out. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Like, oh, this is how a demon intelligently be a demon by acting like an angel. Like it's like y'all gonna have those type of qualities and stuff that a family member, friend, or so they can't wait. So try not to be on nobody's bad side at this time, but also be productive. So even if you is on somebody's bad side, your productivity is going to speak louder than whatever stone is being casted at you, Sagittarius is. Because your productivity doesn't always necessarily mean like what you're doing in business or whatever. Productivity just means your mind is in the right place. So whatever that you're doing is back to support it by your mind being in the right place and not in no degenerate place. So you're sounded. What we can see makes more sense than whoever saying something about you and what they're doing or whatever. So a person can intelligently persuade something about you, but if you're being productive, once we see what you're productive or your mentality, if it's in a productive space, that rock gonna go way over. It ain't gonna touch nothing. You know what I'm saying? The person thought they was throwing a rock at a glass house, and you ain't even in an esoteric house. You in an esoteric mansion or something like that. You know, or esoteric building, bulletproof building. You know what I'm saying? David and Goliath rock proof building. Now, so keep that in mind, Sagittarius. And then Pisces, right? You're going to be experiencing new understandings or new misunderstandings and things of that nature. So when it comes to these new understandings, things that you was still lost in as a delusion, or what you think you should express yourself as, or how you see things and how you think other people should express themselves as, you're going to start to develop those understandings of your mishaps, the mistakes you may have had, the expressions you should have been expressing, but you didn't because you was in that Scorpio Cancer energy also, because you're a water sign. Oh, this may make me appear to be vulnerable. I think people will see and feel about it this way, so let me adjust it this way if I got to participate. All that going to be out the window. You know what I'm saying? Leo is the in conjunction energy, 150-degree angle. It pulls you out of your comfort zone. It's like Leo energy to Pisces, and we're not talking about the sign. We're talking about esoterically speaking that every now and then in the physical world, it'll play out like that. You may have a friend that's a Leo and they take you out of your comfort zone, but it play out like this. With the Pisces relationship, you get put out your comfort zone and actually be in a situation where you actually like something more than you thought you would have liked it. See what I'm saying? So it's like, but you got to get pulled out of it. So Leo is putting you in that energy right now. It's going to pull you out of something, especially when it comes to creative attributes. Leo going to give you the stage. It's something that you've seen from not even the audience, the little room where the projector be coming from and stuff like that. You be in that room trying to imagine, well, maybe the colors and stuff like that should be like that on the screen or whatever. But you're going to be up there and Leo the stage. So that's the creative stage right there, or the concert. Let's call it the esoteric concert or whatever. Now, you know all these things, you know all these tricks, even the things that people don't see or whatever, but you ain't on the stage to express it or whatever. And a lot of these things is things you want to do. So, Leo, this new solar eclipse is going to bring you out of that comfort zone and let you know, oh, the stage ain't so bad. Oh, this attention ain't so bad. Me entertaining it. And when we think about attention, look at everything as an energy on its own before we filter it through our bias. Attention on its own is just you being in the space of paying attention to something, you entertaining something. And you could take that, plant seeds there, take a fruit there, and then you could evolve that. And if you in order, then you're doing it the right way. You know properly how to receive attention from others once you put out that fruit from the attention world or whatever the case. You see what I'm saying? You end up knowing how to do that more properly or however. But it's basically what we internal choose to entertain and give attention to, and then we duplicate it to play it out ourselves or to attract a person, place, or thing or object through that same formation once we create and planted that seed and made that fruit in the esoteric world. So when you look at that, that makes things a little bit more simple for all zodiac signs. But Pisces, this is where you're going to be actually at this time. So you're going to be having all these new understandings on, okay, I could be on the stage just like that. I don't have to sit here and be in the esoteric drawing projecting room always thinking next time the colors could go that way. Next time the lights could go this way. Next time we could open up the curtains at that time or whatever. No, when is you going to get on stage because you already know these things and you could do the thing better on the stage than the person that's on the stage? When is you going to do that? So that's the Leo energy. It's going to drag Pisces out and get you out of your self-delusion and make you be in that space of, oh, this is not so bad. Oh, this person don't see it this way. Oh, this situation ain't how sometimes you could play out your opposite energy like Virgo, and y'all first go to in your mind, even when it start off as a good situation, is what's the worst things could happen. And then you start developing actions to play around that ultimately sometimes play out as self-sabotaging roles. And it'd be good relationships, good circumstances, good business, good creative endeavors that y'all end up sabotaging before you even got to your creativity being praised or whatever. Then somebody will take all that creativity you had, steal it, and do it for themselves. And there'll be nothing you could do about it because you ain't got no paperwork or whatever. So for the most part, understand that, Pisces. But there's going to be new understandings for that. If you're productive, if you're unproductive, you're going to be in a position of new misunderstandings where you are already delusional. Now we're in a new shift. You ain't going to know what to attach to or how to express yourself or whatever. You may just totally withdraw and become more of a homebody than Cancer, especially when it comes time to taking care of your responsibilities, which can actually be a detriment to your life at this moment. So don't let the new solar eclipse put you in that space if you're unproductive. Because if you're unproductive, what you how you're going to see and feel about things is going to be just like a delusion of other individuals, where other individuals going to see that very thing as something simple or a necessity for something to get the ball moving when it comes to going for our goals or creativity. And you're going to be making up all these imaginations about how that don't get the ball rolling, and we have to go back and make the comic book or coloring book, esoteric drawing board, esoterically speaking, a little bit more of this shade, draw something else, it ain't finished yet, or just that. And then you get into that Virgo energy, just in the esoteric world, where they think something ain't ready yet physically, you would think something ain't ready yet mentally, and then for the most part, a whole bunch of years go by and you ain't even did it by self-doubting it the whole way. Then people around you that ain't taking those pressures, taking the good benefits from it, putting it in positions you ain't in because you're retracting from it, retreating from it, and becoming more successful, and you got to watch from a distance, yo shit, you ain't getting credit for it though. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that for my Pisces out there, but y'all go through that so often. But look, I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Happy new solar eclipse for everybody and things of that nature. Make sure the new moon in Leo, you take full access to this Stargate. And then for the most part, don't be unproductive. Flight boss, beep, for sure. You're not listening to the mind of an Antares moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and beep, responsibilities and obligations and duties. HAÄL'HO, YAHLAHUÉ, Master Sword, Mama Natoy. Woo! Saki, Masasaki.